On the 27th of March, 1977, two Boeing 747s sat on the same narrow runway on a small island, hidden from each other by fog. Neither crew could see the other. In the next 90 seconds, 583 people would die, and it would remain, to this day, the deadliest accident in the history of aviation. No missile. No bomb on board. No engine tearing itself apart. Just fog, a crowded airport, two of the best crews in the world, and a single misunderstood word. This is the final 4 minutes of Tenerife. It was never supposed to happen here. Both jets were bound for Gran Canaria, a holiday island in the Atlantic. KLM Flight 4805, out of Amsterdam, packed with Dutch tourists chasing the sun. And Pan Am Flight 1736, out of Los Angeles and New York, full of Americans headed for a cruise. Then, at Gran Canaria, a small bomb went off in the terminal. The airport closed. And every inbound flight was ordered to divert to the nearest field that could take them, a little regional airport on the island of Tenerife, called Los Rodeos. Los Rodeos was not built for this. It had one runway and one parallel taxiway, and within an hour it was jammed with diverted jumbo jets, parked nose to tail, spilling onto the taxiway itself. Including both of our 747s. And Los Rodeos had one more problem. It sits 2,000 feet up a mountain. On that afternoon, clouds were rolling down the slope and across the field in thick banks. Visibility was collapsing, from miles, to hundreds of meters, to almost nothing. In the cockpit of the KLM jet sat one of the most respected pilots in the world. He was the face of the airline, the man in their magazine adverts, the chief instructor who trained other 747 captains. If you flew KLM, you had, in a sense, been trained by him. But that afternoon he was carrying two invisible weights. The first was time. Dutch law had just tightened the rules on how long a crew could stay on duty, and the clock was running out. If they were delayed much longer, he could be forced to cancel the flight, strand hundreds of passengers overnight, and face a mountain of paperwork. The second weight was fuel. To save time later, he made a fateful choice on the ground at Tenerife. He ordered a full refuel, thousands of extra kilos. It would keep them from having to stop again. It also meant a heavier plane, a longer takeoff run, and, later, more to burn. Think about the box he had built for himself. Wait too long, and the duty time law forces him to cancel, hundreds of stranded passengers, a night in a hotel, an inquiry. Try to leave, and the fog might close the airport anyway. Every option was bad, and every minute made them worse. He was a careful man being squeezed, slowly, toward a careless decision. With the taxiway blocked by parked planes, the tower gave both jets an unusual instruction. Taxi down the active runway itself. KLM first, all the way to the far end, then turn around. Pan Am behind them, told to turn off partway down onto a side exit, to clear the runway before KLM came back for takeoff. Now picture it. Two 747s, nose to tail on a single runway, in fog so thick the tower could not see either aircraft, and neither aircraft could see the other. Everything now depended on radio, on words alone. And the words were about to fail them. The controllers spoke English as a second language. The crews used casual, non-standard phrasing. And the Pan Am crew, counting exits in the murk, missed their turn-off, so they were still on the runway, still rolling toward the far end, when they should already have been clear. At the far end, KLM swung around into takeoff position, pointing back down the runway. Somewhere ahead of them in the fog, invisible, the Pan Am jet was still taxiing straight toward them. What happened next was reconstructed, second by second, from the cockpit voice recorders of both planes. The KLM co-pilot radioed for their route clearance, the instructions for after they were airborne. The tower read it back. And the captain, already convinced it was time to go, pushed the throttles forward. His co-pilot, surprised, keyed the radio and said the words that would echo through every investigation since, "We are now at takeoff." Not a clear statement. Not standard. Just, "We are now, going." And in the tower, the controller answered, "Okay. Stand by for takeoff. I will call you." But KLM never heard "stand by for takeoff." Because at that exact instant, the Pan Am crew keyed their own microphone to warn, "We are still on the runway." Two radio signals hit the same frequency at once, and cancelled each other out. In the KLM cockpit, all that came through was a 3-second squeal of static. The one warning that could have stopped everything was erased in the air. This is the cruel heart of Tenerife. Every safeguard was there. The tower did say to stand by. Pan Am did say they were still on the runway. Both messages were sent, at the right moment, by the right people. And both were destroyed by a quirk of physics, two microphones pressed at the same instant on the same frequency, blotting each other out into a single meaningless whistle. The system did not stay silent. It shouted two warnings, and the fog of radio swallowed them whole. The KLM flight engineer heard enough to worry. He asked aloud, "Is he not clear, that Pan American?" The captain, the instructor, the man who could not wait, answered firmly, "Oh, yes." And they kept accelerating. For 13 seconds, the KLM jet gathered speed toward a wall of gray. Then, out of the fog ahead, the Pan Am crew saw landing lights coming straight at them. They firewalled their throttles and slammed into a hard left turn, trying to claw off the runway into the grass. The KLM captain saw them too late. He hauled back on the controls so hard the tail scraped the runway in a shower of sparks, trying to leap over the other plane. He almost made it. The nose and front wheels lifted clear, but the belly and engines tore through the top of the Pan Am fuselage at nearly 200 miles an hour. Both aircraft, heavy with fuel, erupted. The KLM jet came down hundreds of meters further on and was gone in an instant, all 248 people on board. Nobody in that aircraft ever knew what they had hit. On the Pan Am jet, the story was different, and somehow harder. The collision had torn the top off the front of the aircraft. In the smoke and the fog, a handful of passengers and crew found themselves looking at open sky where the ceiling had been. Some climbed out through the gashes onto the wing and jumped down into the grass, running from a fire that would consume everything behind them. They had seconds. 61 of them made it. 335 did not. There was no single villain here. That is what makes Tenerife so haunting. A bomb on another island. An overcrowded airport. Fog. Fatigue and a ticking clock. Two radios keyed at once. And one experienced, respected captain who heard what he wanted to hear, that the runway was clear, and moved before he was told to. But out of those 583 deaths came the rules that protect you every time you fly. The word takeoff was banned from casual use, Today a crew only says it when they have an actual clearance, and the controller says, "Departure," the rest of the time. Readbacks of critical instructions became mandatory and exact. And the biggest change of all was about the cockpit itself. Investigators realized the KLM engineer had doubted his captain, and said nothing strong enough to stop him. Aviation invented a whole new discipline called crew resource management, teaching junior crew to speak up, and captains to listen, no matter who is more senior. The most respected pilot in the company had been wrong. The system that let no one challenge him died on that runway. 583 people boarded 2 ordinary flights to a holiday island. They never left the ground. But because investigators refused to blame a single man, and instead rebuilt how every cockpit on Earth talks, works, and listens, their last 90 seconds made the skies you fly through today the safest they have ever been.